Starting off with number 10, never rushing into commitment. Prince William was not in a hurry to be tied down. Although the Duke is all over his wifey now, there was a time in his life when he tried Kate Middleton's patience. In fact, the British press dubbed Catherine the Duchess of Cambridge, Weighty Katie. Ouch. At the time, the public expected Will and Kate to marry according to an imaginary timeline that had the lovers jumping through spinning hoops to tie the knot at record speed. Yet, as we all know, things aren't always so simple. Granted, they started dating each other at the end of 2003 and only got hitched in 2011, but there were other factors at play. Like, did the British public really expect a modern couple to get married in their early 20s? William, on the other hand, did not appear to be in any hurry to cross the aisle. Vanity Fair claims that even before they started dating, he was already having second thoughts. According to legend, the firstborn prince stated that he was experiencing claustrophobic feelings in the summer of 2004. William felt he needed a sailing vacation to Greece for only boys after they agreed to break up. Guy Pelly, a friend of mine, arranged for a crew of only women and they set sail. According to the publication, Kate was annoyed, if not surprised, to learn of Guy's tactics because Guy had been a negative influence on William at the time. On to number 9, Flirty Will. Prince William occasionally drank a little too much, particularly when he was young. His habit of partying and drinking occasionally led to a lot of trouble for him. After a wild night of drinking in England, for instance, photos of a sober William surfaced online. According to Female First, on March 23, 2007, he was discovered seemingly touching the breast of an 18-year-old Brazilian woman named Ana Ferreira. The naughty picture caused a stir in the British media. You see, when William decided to go out for a night on the town in Bournemouth, he was deep into his military tank warfare training in Dorset. According to Ferreira, he was having a good time partying in a nightclub when word went round that William was there playing cheesy 80s music, so we went to take a look, she went on to say. I don't think he would be any good at the samba. He was dancing and looking a little wooden, but he was surrounded by a lot of girls. Okay, William, you're kind of a player. William, who was just 24 years old at the time, got Ferreira and her friend to pose for some pictures. I was a little bit drunk myself, but I felt something brush my breast, she explained. I thought it couldn't be the future king, but now that I've seen the picture, I can see why he's smiling. Number 8, the infamous breakup. The news that her boyfriend had been caught groping other women in a bar made Kate Middleton furious. Today reports that she complained to her mother and sister that Prince William had changed in public. William, on the other hand, complained that he was feeling claustrophobic and sought advice from his father. Because it would be completely unfair to Kate to lead her on, Prince Charles thought it would be prudent for them to part ways. Therefore, William chose to meet Kate at her apartment the following weekend rather than accept an invitation from the Middletons to the Easter celebrations. Because she was already the target of press attention, Kate desired some kind of commitment. I don't want you suffering the way my mother did, he said, recalling his mother's relationship with the paparazzi. She reminded him of how much they had meant to each other and that she didn't want to give up on their relationship. He called Kate at her workplace the following day, April 11, 2007. Even the decency to confront Kate to end their relationship was lacking. He left her over the phone after avoiding a fight. According to Vogue, Kate was employed by Jigsaw as a buyer of fashion accessories at the time. Today reveals that she entered a back conference room and left her colleagues behind. The sorry excuse offered by William was, "It just isn't going to work. It's unfair to you." Fortunately, they reconciled a few months later. Number 7, furious Kate. Kate Middleton has always insisted on presenting the appropriate image. Vanity Fair claims that she even had to reprimand Prince William when he behaved like a child rather than the future monarch. Sadly, Guy Pelly always seemed to bring out the prince's playful side, and Kate wasn't always interested in that. In 2006, it appears that Will and the court jester were on vacation in Ibiza. They were showing off in front of a rented house, enjoying some testosterone-fueled guy time, having discovered the thrill of moped riding. However, Kate came out of the house and demanded that they stop because she was embarrassed. According to reports, she yelled at them. Anyone could be watching, stop acting this way, and exit the back. They did what they seemed to do, listened to Kate, and stopped showing off. William may not have liked it, but Middleton's judgment was almost certainly right. Vicky Ward, the author of Vanity Fair, wrote, "Will's ego was probably hurt when he was called out in front of his friend, even though Kate's decision was in his best interest. However, despite the obstacle, their relationship endured, and Pelly would later play play a significant role in their lives. As per Hello, one of Prince Louis's godfathers is Pelly. On to number 6, Prince Harry is the second son of Princess Diana. She left her oval sapphire ring, which weighs 12 carats. However, according to Marie Claire, the spare believed that the ring belonged to the future queen and presented it to Prince William when he learned that he wanted to propose to Kate Middleton. The prince revealed that the ring had been on its own journey when they announced their engagement in 2010. I had been carrying it around with me in my rucksack for about 3 weeks before that, and I literally would not let it go. Everywhere I went, I was keeping hold of it, the prince said when he proposed in Kenya. It is my mother's engagement ring. Obviously, she's not going to be around to share any of the fun and excitement of it all. This was my way of keeping her sort of close to it all. However, many people are aware that the marriage between Princess Diana and Prince Charles was not a happy one. Their union was marred by affairs, insecurities, and the worst rumors, which led to a scandalous divorce. Many people thought that proposing with a ring from a failed marriage was not a good idea. They interpreted it as a negative sign. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge's marriage is stronger than ever a decade later. I would love to throw a party. Apparently, when the Duchess of Cambridge was expecting their first child, Prince George, Prince William wanted to let his hair down when he still had some. According to Daily Mail, Will had attended the wedding of his close friend Tom and Lady Melissa Percy while leaving a pregnant Kate at home. William's tooth loss would be associated with the royal wedding of the North. It appears that the young Duke and his friend Tom Inskip were tearing up the dance floor. William was struck in the face by Inskip as a result of a series of events. Due to their wild dance moves, he reportedly lost most of his front tooth, necessitating immediate medical attention. Will still had a sense of humor though. William was joking that if Kate went into labor that night, he would have to smile for the cameras with a missing tooth, a guest claimed. William made sure the tooth was repaired because he was worried Kate would get really upset, said one guest. However, if he hadn't been able to get to the dentist in time, the photos of a sheepish William and a displeased Kate would have been hilarious. On to number 4. According to Australia's The Daily Telegraph, Prince William once again found himself in hot water in 2017 when he was captured partying hard with 2 women. The Duke of Cambridge decided not to attend the Commonwealth Day services and instead went skiing with the boys in Switzerland. Additionally, he left his wife and the kids alone at home. When footage of the British royal dad dancing in a restaurant surfaced, the media had a field day. According to The Sun, William gyrated with Australian model Sophie Taylor and got down and dirty with her. While enjoying her company, he took the model's cowboy hat and put it on his own bald head. Later, according to reports, Taylor entertained the future king by performing a particularly sinister dance move. William allegedly got handsy once more and talked to another woman while bending low and placing his fingers on her waist. He was dancing so wildly that I did a double take when I first saw him and thought it must be a lookalike, a partygoer later told the media. But soon, everyone realized they were really partying with Prince William. It's safe to assume Kate will be far from happy. I'm curious if he has learned his lesson yet. On to number 3, the Rose Hanbury scandal. The media's attention was drawn to Prince William's alleged affair with Rose Hanbury more than any other scandal he was involved in over the years. The first report that Will may have cheated on Kate was published in Touch via the Daily Beast. It appears that the affair took place in 2018 when the Duchess of Cambridge was expecting Louis and was only discovered in 2019. According to the publication, Kate allegedly confronted her husband, but he reportedly laughed off the claims. Although I have not read the piece, I am aware of the affair. In fact, everyone is aware of the affair. He deleted the message later. However, it appears that Kate was sufficiently concerned to make her own demands. She told William that all socializing had to stop because she didn't want them to keep their friendship with the Hanburys. According to their source, they come across as a perfect couple who can do no wrong, but the reality is most couples have their issues and William and Kate are no different. The news that the alleged affair rocked the palace and their marriage shocked the entire world. The royal family attempted to silence the allegations of the affair in an unusual manner. Number 2, breaking friendships. Rose Hanbury and Kate seemed to form a friendship out of nowhere. According to Town and Country, they quickly became apparent close friends because they are nearly the same age, have children of the same age, and go to the same places. However, after Kate allegedly ignored her best friend, rumors began to circulate and both houses remained silent about the situation. In the meantime, Kate sees their friendship in an entirely different light now. According to The Sun, Kate instructed William that Rose Hanbury and their family needed to be phased out. This allegedly clouded their entire friendship. It was well known that Kate and Rose have had a terrible falling out, the insider added. They were once close, but that is no longer the case. William was said to be reluctant to end the friendship, especially since William is said to be close to Rose Hanbury's husband, David Rock Savage. William wants to play peacemaker so the two couples can remain friends, given that they live so close to one another and share many mutual friends. Kate has been clear that she doesn't want to see them anymore and wants William to phase them out, despite their social status. The insider continued, however, it appeared as though the Duchess had the final say. And on to number 1, during the Rose Hanbury scandal, the tabloids picked up some interesting rumors. It would appear that Kate Middleton was unable to handle the news of the alleged affair. The only tabloid to report that Kate was devastated by the Prince William cheating scandal was The Globe. They said that she wept and ran away from the attention to her parents' Berkshire home. However, as she lay crumbled on the bathroom floor after collapsing, her mother discovered her precious daughter. Mama called a doctor and her son-in-law because she knew best. After all, nothing could continue in this manner. Will, on the other hand, left the Middleton household after Kate allegedly tore into him when he got there. In the midst of all the drama, the kid's fate is not mentioned for the record. In addition, there is no animosity between Kate and William in photographs taken during her pregnancy and immediately after. Therefore, what actually transpired between the Cambridges took place behind closed doors. Starting off with number 10, unfit for the Queen. Despite the fact that the Queen and Prince Philip have been married for 71 years, many people were initially against the union between Philip and the young Princess Elizabeth. They first met in 1934 at Princess Marina of Denmark and Greece's wedding to Prince George, Duke of Kent. However, it wasn't until the young princess and her parents, King George and Queen Elizabeth, visited the Royal Naval College in 1939 that Philip, then 18 years old, won Elizabeth's heart. It is certainly not uncommon for royal marriages to be arranged. In fact, most royal unions are predetermined by other members of the family. That wasn't the case for Elizabeth and Philip. After the two met as teenagers, they began a correspondence and started spending time together when they could. Their friendship blossomed into a relationship of its own. And luckily for Philip, the king liked him. Biographer Sally Beadle Smith wrote that the king told his mother that Philip was intelligent, has a good sense of humor, and thinks about things in the right way. They kept in contact through letters, and Naval Captain Philip frequently paid a visit to Windsor Castle when he could. However, the fact that he had a background in the Navy and held a position of power raised suspicions among many establishment members. When the Greek prince married Elizabeth, he was considered a dangerous lefty. Philip is often mentioned as having been an outsider when he married Elizabeth in 1947. While he wasn't a member of the traditional British aristocracy or nobility, he was certainly familiar with the ways of the royals, having been born into a royal family. What's more, he and Elizabeth were distant cousins and great-great-grandchildren of Queen Victoria. Number 9, entitled. The prince's stench of class privilege stood out most of all. In media outlets, sycophants for the royal family attempted to portray Philip as a straightforward man of the people. But Philip detested the commoners. He reportedly stated to the vicious Paraguayan dictator General Stroessner in 1963, "It's a pleasure to be in a country that isn't ruled by its people." Philip made the following statement in 1980 when unemployment in Thatcher's Britain reached 3 million. A few years ago, everyone was saying that we needed more time off because we were all working too much. Everyone is complaining that they are unemployed, now that they have more free time. It doesn't appear that people can decide what they want. In 2015, while taking a tour of a London community center, Philip posed the following question to a group of Asian volunteers. Who do you sponge off then? Philip would never be described as someone who works hard. In May 2017, when he announced his retirement from public life, the British media reported that over the course of 6 decades, he had engaged in 22,219 engagements. However, the majority of those engagements lasted on average an hour and included everything from launching battleships and presenting plaques at town halls to drinking and eating banquets with other reactionary thugs. On to number 8, affairs. The Crown strongly hints that Philip was a serial cheater. Over the years, the prince has been linked to numerous women, including 2 dancers, but neither nor the women have ever confirmed. One of the most gripping moments in the show's 2nd season is when Philip's personal secretary and close friend Mike Parker is accused of adultery and sued for divorce in '58. A massive scandal ensues on the show and in real life, with the implication that Philip must be a cheater too. That episode shows Elizabeth making peace with her husband by making him a prince. However, news reports from back then suggested Philip was made a prince so he couldn't be forced to testify at Parker's divorce trial, potentially exposing him to uncomfortable and embarrassing questions. Having said that, a long list of women have been mentioned as possible mistresses of the late prince. The affair between King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla is typically the first thing that comes to mind when people think of misbehavior within the royal family. The world was shocked by Prince Charles and Princess Diana's liaison, and it took many years before the public was ready to accept Camilla as an official royal family member. However, Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth's husband, was also the subject of rumors of extramarital affairs. However, Philip himself offered a sarcastic response to the claim, stating in 2017, "Have you ever stopped to consider the fact that I have never moved anywhere without a police officer accompanying me over the past 40 years? So how on earth did I manage to get away with something like that?" Although the majority dismissed these rumors as merely gossip from the tabloids, there have been some truly scandalous claims over the years. In 1948, the couple gave birth to their first child, Prince Charles. 1948 was also the year that Prince Philip is rumored to have had an affair with Pat Kirkwood. After that, while Elizabeth was at home, 8 months pregnant with Charles, Philip and Pat dined together in public in London before dancing until dawn at a nightclub. They allegedly met 6 more times and wrote to each other via letter. These letters will not be made public until an official biographer for the late Duke of Edinburgh is chosen after he passed away. Her career was ruined by rumors that Pat was the prince's mistress. Pat was left on her own to defend herself because, in accordance with protocol, the royal palace refused to issue a statement in response to the rumors. In 1950, the Queen and Prince Philip's 2nd child was born, Princess Anne. In 1956, Prince Philip embarked on a world tour aboard the Britannia, a royal yacht, leaving the Queen and 2 young children behind in England. On to number 7, racism. The Duke, who wed the Queen in 1947, retired from public life in May 2017 at the age of 95. But his remarks that were racist, sexist, or degrading had been dismissed as gaffes from more than 40 years prior. When Philip went to China in 1986, he called Beijing ghastly. Additionally, he told British students, "You'll all have slitty eyes if you stay here for a long time." Philip made an offensive observation about Cantonese cuisine in the same year while giving a speech at a meeting of the World Wildlife Fund. He stated, "The Cantonese will eat it if it has 4 legs and is not a chair, if it has wings and is not an airplane, or if it swims and is not a submarine." He stated the following to a student who was traveling through Papua New Guinea in 1988. "So how did you avoid being eaten?" In 1994, he inquired of residents of the Cayman Islands as to whether the majority of them were descended from pirates, and in 2002, he posed the following question to an Aboriginal leader in Queensland. "Do you still strike each other with spears?" The unhinged prince just never realized that sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut. But that is also most likely because he knew he could get away with literally anything he would want to say. Number 6, the prince's duties. He spent 350 hours per year, or less than 7 hours per week, over 64 years, dedicating his time to public service. Philip received a yearly stipend of £360,000 for his efforts. Given that everything he did, from traveling to top restaurants to international travel, was paid for by someone else, this was essentially pocket money. The thinking and attitudes that dominated the British ruling class during Philip's childhood were only reflected in his racism, sexism, and hatred on the lower orders. They were born into fascism, and his gaffes provide some insight into their social environment. On to number 5, public disapproval. Prince Philip's unlikability and overbearing demeanor only grew stronger during his 69 years as royal consort, which he did at great public expense to lead a life of waste and self-indulgence. In British high society, which includes the royal enclosure at Ascot races, the royal box at Wimbledon, debutante coming out parties, country hunts, London clubs, the Oxford and Cambridge boat race, the Henley Royal Regatta, charity balls, and numerous polo matches, statements that were viewed as outrageous by many were the norm. The rest of us are just the unwashed masses to this man. Despite Prince Philip's uncanny ability to offend, he was never removed from public life or confined to a Buckingham Palace wing where he would never be seen again, which speaks volumes about the arrogance of the British monarchy. Philip also notoriously lost patience while carrying out royal responsibilities, telling a photographer in 2015 during a photo session to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Britain to just take the effing picture. On to number 4, ignorant. He was regarded as a countryman and a servant by his followers, and represented white male privilege to others. He once told a boy who was 13 that he was too fat to be an astronaut. He stated British women are incapable of cooking. When he went to China in 1986, he told a British student, "You will return home with slitty eyes if you stay much longer here." He declared when he met Nigeria's president, who was dressed in traditional garb, "You appear to be ready for bed. How many people have you knocked over on that thing this morning?" He once asked a man on a mobility scooter who was physically impaired. On to number 3, advised not to marry Philip. Biographer Anne Wilson has claimed that the young Elizabeth was told on a number of occasions that Philip was entirely the wrong person to choose because he was too funny and made gaffes, according to the Telegraph. Speaking at the Cheltenham Literary Festival in 2016, he said, "When she made it quite clear from the age of about 14 that she was in love with Prince Philip, who was a German prince with blonde hair, all the courtiers said he was entirely the wrong person to choose." He continued, "They said it for lots of reasons, but the fact is he was wrong. The Queen is a very reserved, diligent person. He isn't. He was a naval officer who was also apparently quite funny." The biographer told his audience that Philip's first comment to the Queen after her coronation was, "Where did you get that hat?" Number 2, tolerating each other. When Philip and Elizabeth married in 1947, neither of them expected she would be crowned queen anytime soon. Her father, King George VI, was in his early 50s. Philip, named Duke of Edinburgh, intended to continue his career in the Navy, but the king passed away 5 years into their marriage, and Elizabeth became queen at the early age of 25. Philip was forced to quit his naval career. The Crown portrays his resentment. In 1992, he told an interviewer, "I'd much rather have stayed in the Navy, frankly." He later called his resignation naturally disappointing. By many accounts, there was real tension in the marriage. For their 50th wedding anniversary, Philip gave a rare speech about his marriage. He said that what has made their relationship work is the fact that they're tolerant of each other. I think the main lesson that we have learned is that tolerance is the one essential ingredient of a happy marriage. It may not be quite so important when things are going well, but it is absolutely vital when the going gets difficult. You can take it from me that the Queen has the quality of tolerance in abundance. And on to number 1, struggling to fit in. Irving pointed to Philip's 1956 tour of Commonwealth countries as evidence of his need for breathing room. He explained, "It is understandable that as a hot-blooded young buck, as soon as he entered into the orbit of the horrible royal court and all the flunkies telling him what to do, it did not suit him. The fact that he lost his stack and spent 6 months on the boat is not surprising. He wanted to escape the dreadful atmosphere of the court where he felt constrained. But Philip was able to make the job his own over time. He founded awards for design and industry, established an interfaith dialogue, and served as the first president of the World Wildlife Fund, UK, in addition to accompanying the Queen on her travels abroad and supporting hundreds of organizations." He later stated that supporting his wife in her role as monarch was his primary responsibility. Philip was eager to embrace television when he joined the British royal family at the same time that it was growing in popularity. He was the first member of the royal family to give an interview on television in 1961, promoting the advantages of technical skills and training. It is said that he was involved in the decision to broadcast the Queen's coronation on TV in 1953. Starting off with number 10, what love means. The firstborn son of Queen Elizabeth Elizabeth II probably could have married anyone, but he chose Diana, a pretty soft-spoken schoolteacher who was more than a decade his junior. They had met before, but when his beloved uncle Lord Mountbatten passed away, their romance took off quickly. Charles saw Diana in a new light all of a sudden as she offered Charles comfort. But that brand new light might not have been love. In point of fact, if we look back at the initial interview that Charles and Diana gave after they announced their engagement, we can see an awkward moment that may have revealed everything about the relationship. On the day of the wedding, there were also a few awkward moments that nobody knew about, like these little known details about Charles and Diana's wedding. Charles turned to Diana to see what she would say when the interviewer asked the couple if they were in love. "Of course," she said with a scowl before turning away. After that, Charles stated, "Well, whatever in love means." Ouch. Diana, that is a red flag right there. Many people probably thought, "Oh, how adorable," or "such witty banter." However, Charles was probably revealing his true feelings for Diana, or rather his lack of them, instead of being cute or funny with it. Number 9, Diana's reaction. Those 4 words caused Diana more harm than she showed in the interview. That completely threw me off, Diana remarked later after the couple's dirty laundry had been made public. "I was completely traumatized by it." Diana's lack of understanding of the issue may have exacerbated the situation. She just knew that her soon-to-be husband's comments seemed odd. Diana had trouble processing the fact that Charles had made a bracelet for Camilla, the woman he had always loved and to whom he is now married, just a few weeks before her wedding. Even though Diana faced a challenge, this was not the worst day of her life. Naturally, Diana eventually realized and accepted the fact that Charles did not love her in the same way he loved Camilla. When Diana and Charles split up in 1992 and divorced in 1996, the rest of the world eventually did the same. The royal gossip continued after the divorce, and some secrets about Princess Diana were only revealed after the tragic passing of the people's princess. Number 8, jealousy. However, during his marriage to Princess Diana, he had his first significant encounter with disapproving public opinion. Archival footage of the couple touring Australia in the new HBO documentary The Princess suggests that he was jealous of how much more popular she was. Well, the real-life Diana confirmed that Charles envied the public's devotion to his wife in her explosive 1995 interview with the BBC's Martin Bashir. The pressure on us both as a couple with the media was phenomenal and misunderstood by a great many people. We'd be going around Australia, for instance, and all you could hear was, "Oh, she's on the other side." Diana subsequently clarified that the waiting crowds were expressing their disappointment that Charles was closer to them, rather than Diana, explaining they weren't on the right side to wave at me or to touch me. Now, if you're a man like my husband, a proud man, you mind about that if you hear it every day for 4 weeks, and you feel low about it, instead of feeling happy and sharing it. Diana continued. When Bashir asked, "So they were expressing a preference even then for you rather than your husband?" she responded, "Yes," which I felt very uncomfortable with, and I felt it was unfair because I wanted to share. Diana confirmed Charles's jealousy when Bashir asked if she was flattered by the media attention she received. "No, not particularly," Diana replied. "Because with the media attention came a lot of jealousy. A great deal of complicated situations arose because of that." Someone close to you acting out of jealousy towards you is never fun. Considering he was a future king at the time, I'm sure this hurt his ego even though it shouldn't have. He should have been proud of how publicly accepted his future queen was, but I guess not everyone, even a king, likes to see people winning, right? On to number 7, messy proposal. Diana is proposed to by Prince Charles, the royal attendant at Windsor Castle. She affirms, it is said that the couple had only gone out a few times at that point. After that, the 19-year-old receives a great deal of media attention. The New York Times reports that she once wept while driving, despite how gracefully she handled most of it. She referred to all of the photographers saying, "I know it's just a job they have to do, but sometimes I do wish they wouldn't." She moved into Clarence's house from a small apartment. On February 24, the couple made their engagement public for the first time. Charles famously responds, "Whatever in love means," when a reporter inquires about the romantic relationship. The guest list included political leaders from all over the world and included 3,500 people. Charles was the eldest son of Queen Elizabeth and the heir to the throne. Consequently, the guest list required friends and family as well as world leaders. And Camilla was one of the guests, a royally savage invite. Camilla was seated next to to her sister Annabelle in a gray suit and veiled pillbox hat. Andrew Parker Bowles, her first husband, was a part of the celebrations, leading the household cavalry as Diana and Charles's escort. The bravado to pretend to be the groom's mistress at the wedding? The narrative just flows naturally. To add fuel to the fire, Charles even wore Camilla's gift of cufflinks to his wedding. In case you were wondering why Charles didn't marry Camilla in the first place, the royals did not like her because she had been married before, which was bad news for the country's future king. However, fast forward to 2005 when Charles finally married Camilla, who is currently the queen consort. I suppose it was destiny for this couple. Number 5, a business transaction. The author of HRH, speaking to Us Weekly, according to So Many Thoughts on Royal Style, the Wales wedding was almost like a business transaction, which in my opinion sounds about as appealing as wearing wet socks. Diana was clearly very eager, willing, and wanting to please, and she just checked so many boxes and fit right in. The expert then discusses the extremely brief courtship between the royal couple. It was so brief. That kind of reveals Charles's approach to this and the pressures he was experiencing. It almost felt like a formality. That doesn't sound any better. It's very easy to find all the red flags in retrospect, considering the 19-year-old Diana was making this huge life decision without a stable family behind her and much guidance. Homestead of Diana. Instead of marrying for love, it seems more like they were trying to fulfill a duty. Number 4, confirming the cheating scandals. Diana was right to be concerned about Charles's affair. In point of fact, some of the people who denied her assertions were the very people who were attempting to conceal the relationship from her. Diana was convinced that the Princess of Wales was going insane because these people were really gaslighting her to such an extent. Even Shakespeare couldn't write this kind of tragedy. A new foreword to Martin's book says that Charles asked his staff for help to hide his affair with Camilla. Even though they were aware that Charles would be out with his lover, Charles's chef and butler were instructed to prepare dinner and were forced to accompany the prince on shady nighttime visits to see Camilla. It was instructed to Charles's valet to mark the TV listings guide to give the impression that the prince had spent the night watching television at home. Charles's staff had to listen to police radios to track Diana's journey to the hospital after he broke his arm in a polo accident, so they could get Camilla out of Charles's room before the princess arrived. Diana knew all along that Charles had his staff working overtime to conceal his lies from her. Charles's staff was sickened by the affair and foresaw the breakdown of the marriage. When Charles publicly admitted to the affair in '94, 2 years after Diana and he had officially separated, the secret was made public. Charles wed Camilla in 2005 after the couple finalized their divorce in '96. Are we all shocked? Charles finally weds his ex-mistress, who is also the most despised woman in the UK because people thought she was to blame for Diana and Charles's failed marriage. I'm not saying I'm on either side, but I think Charles should be held accountable for their marriage's failure. What do you think? On to number 3, royal break. Charles and Diana both have extramarital affairs and they're extremely dissatisfied with their marriage. In '94, Charles informed Jonathan Dimbleby, his official biographer, that he resumed his relationship with Camilla this year. Meanwhile, Diana's alleged affair with Army Captain James Hewitt is said to have begun around the same time. Charles writes how awful incompatibility is and how dreadfully destructive it can be for the players in this extraordinary drama, in a letter to an unidentified correspondent. It has all the elements of a Greek tragedy, and I never anticipated how it would end. In 1987 to 1992, there were rumors of marital pressure surrounding Charles and Diana for the next few years. When Diana didn't go to Balmoral with Charles every summer in 1987, headlines in the press called it a royal break. They appeared distant and unhappy during several public appearances. Reporter Georgina Howell discovered this in a 1988 Vanity Fair article. She was the love of everyone except for her husband. In her mid-20s, she was confronted with something she found chilling. A marriage out of a fairy tale that had cooled down into an arrangement. A classic example of people thinking you have everything when in reality you lack what you want most. A great tragedy. Shakespeare should have taken notes from this relationship. Number 2, Charles's true feelings. Charles was emotionally distant from Diana during his affair with Camilla. Additionally, no one has really stood up for her. Andrew Morton published Diana Her True Story, a shocking account of the breaking up of the marriage. It also talked about Charles's relationship with Camilla and Diana's struggles with mental health. It wasn't known for sure at the time that the princess worked on the book with the British author in secret. The couple announced their separation in the same year. In '96, the divorce was finalized, hospitalized, Diana passed away at the age of 36 from injuries she received in the Paris car accident a year later. Charles, according to Anderson, was heartbroken by Diana's passing. He was said to have been ashen and trembling when he got the dreaded call. A cry of pain that was so spontaneous and came from the heart. He then let out a howl of anguish, according to one witness who could be heard down the hall. Collapsed in an armchair, weeping uncontrollably, the palace staff discovered Charles when they rushed his room. According to Anderson's explanation, Charles is responsible not only for having brought the monarchy to its knees at one point after Diana passed away, but also for rescuing it. People probably don't realize how devastated he was by her passing. I spoke with the hospital nurses who first saw him when he entered the room and saw her body. He also appeared to have been struck in the face. He retreated and they believed he was gonna faint. They were surprised to see how emotional Charles was after her passing. I guess sometimes it takes things to not be around you for you to really appreciate them, right? And number 1, more recent controversies. Charles's troubled past has been exposed numerous times now that he is king. He was accused of trying to get the British government to do something. A senior member of parliament dubbed Charles Britain's best informed lobbyist after it was revealed in 2015 that he had received secret documents about the British government's inner workings that not even elected ministers had seen. The royal engaged in personal lobbying efforts to senior politicians about a variety of topics, including illegal fishing of the Patagonian toothfish and orders of military helicopters during the Iraq War, according to 27 memos that were provided to The Guardian and dubbed the Black Spider memos due to Charles's scrawl. Clarence House stated at the time that it is typical for heirs to the throne to be briefed on political topics. However, critics argued that members of the royal family should avoid politics. King Charles's political activism raises the question of whether he will be a political outspoken monarch. According to University of Chicago historian James Vaughn, who spoke to Politico, the question mark would be, would he try to use his role in the unwritten constitution to influence the British government's politics and thinking more than his mother probably ever wanted to? Charles will be scrutinized more closely now that he is king. However, in a 2013 Time profile of the royal, he made a comment that could be aimed at anyone who doubts that he is worthy of his position or up to it. He told the magazine that you end up discovering there was value in them if you throw away too many things. Starting off with number 10, drinking problem. King Charles is said to be on high alert regarding Camilla's drinking issues, which have gotten him into a lot of trouble. Charles had already persuaded his mother, the late Queen Elizabeth, not to push him aside in favor of his son Prince William and beloved Kate, and began by describing some trust issues that exist between King Charles and Camilla. Camilla wasn't satisfied with the title of Princess Consort, which Charles had promised to her when they got married in 2005. She has always aspired to be queen. Her Majesty did not approve until Charles allegedly pulled out his ace card. This put Charles on red alert about Camilla's excessive drinking. Before coming to a conclusion, the informant also stated he knows Camilla is a loose cannon who's fallen off the wagon many times before and caused him untold embarrassment. On to number 9, Prince William's thoughts on her. Since their marriage, Camilla has remained a prominent member of the royal family. However, her stepchildren Princes William and Harry have maintained strict boundaries regarding their relationship. Angela Levine, a royal author, says that Prince William has made it very clear that the new queen consort will never play his late mother, Princess Diana. William made it clear that Camilla is the wife of his father, but not a step-grandmother to his children. The royal couple's 3 children are aware that they have 2 grandfathers, but only 1 grandmother. She went on to say, William and Harry were respectively 20 and 23 when Camilla became their stepmother officially in 2005. She was more of a sociable adult that they occasionally saw at royal events. Camilla had never assumed any responsibility for the children of the Cambridges, especially considering the closeness of Catherine's parents Carol and Michael Middleton. On to number 8, Prince Harry's thoughts. In his most recent memoir, Spare, Prince Harry's portrayal of his stepmother Camilla, who is now the queen consort, is perhaps the most critical. Despite the fact that Charles and Camilla had been romantically involved on and off for decades, they did get married even after Harry and William begged Charles to reconsider. Prince Harry has not forgotten that Princess Diana referred to Camilla as the 3rd person in her marriage. Harry once said that the tabloids had portrayed her as the villain. In their union, she was the 3rd person and needed to improve her appearance. The two brothers did not consider it necessary and thought it would do more harm than good. They still wanted their father to be happy, but they never expected them to get married. Harry stated because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image and the connections she was making within the British press, that made her dangerous. Additionally, there was a clear willingness on both sides to exchange information. Given that she was on her way to becoming queen consort and that she belonged to a family that was structured in a hierarchical manner, there were bound to be people or bodies discarded in the open. Harry claimed that Camilla and even his father used him or William to get better coverage in the tabloids for themselves. That's what you're going to do if you are led to believe as a member of the family that being on the front page, having positive headlines and positive stories written about you is going to improve your reputation or increase the chances of you being accepted as monarch by the British public, Harry stated. On to number 7, public reaction. King Charles' second wife Camilla is unlikely to be forgiven for her role in the breakdown of the Wales marriage because of Diana's legacy, which has won her a new generation of admirers. In the early 1990s, when Charles appeared to confirm rumors that he had been having an affair during an interview with Jonathan Dimbleby in 1994, Camilla became a person of interest to the British press. Charles stated that Camilla had been a friend for a very long time and will continue to be a friend for a very long time, following a conversation about her. The sovereign conceded to being dedicated to Diana just until his marriage had hopelessly separated. Diana herself stated on BBC's Panorama that there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. When confronted with the question of whether Camilla had been directly involved in the breakdown of her marriage in later '96. Susanna Reid, the host of Good Morning Britain, suggested in the beginning of the discussion that the British public had moved past their negative feelings toward Camilla in the 1990s following her 2005 marriage to Charles and seamless integration into the royal family. Most people have forgotten about the breakdown of the marriage and they love her now, and the Queen has sort of anointed her future queen consort. Royston shared his thoughts about how he doesn't think they have moved on. People in the 1990s were on Diana's side in this dispute, and the younger generations that are growing up now feel the same way. How do you feel about this? Let me know in the comments. Royston went on to say they adore Diana. They admire her legacy, humanitarian spirit, warmth, and kindness, and they believe she was essentially the victim of injustice. That when Diana married Charles, she was, to use Diana's own words, a lamb to the slaughter. Royston came to the conclusion that people still have a problem with Charles marrying Diana and exposing her to the rigors of royal life at such a young age before having an affair with Camilla. On to number 6, blindsided princes. It is said that William and Harry were blindsided by their late grandmother's decision to approve of her title as queen consort. According to Christopher Anderson, a royal expert and author, the decision was driving a wedge within the royal family. Here's hoping that everyone got over it. Although it is said that William and Harry are now friendly with Camilla, Prince Charles, their father, has a long history of having an affair with her in the 1980s and 90s while he was still married to their mother, Princess Diana. In the end, Charles and Diana split up in '92 and divorced in '96. Charles and Camilla tied the knot in 2005, and Diana passed away tragically in a car accident in 1997. According to Anderson, who spoke with the publication, she was begrudgingly letting him do this, and one of the key elements was he promised Camilla would never be called queen consort. Her Majesty was miserable during Charles's second marriage ceremony. He says the late queen was skeptical about Camilla when she married Charles, and the circumstances were certainly challenging. However, through her dedication and loyalty to the firm, she has more than proved to her that she has what it takes. Camilla grew closer to Elizabeth, upped her game, and accepted additional responsibilities willingly. After the Queen's longtime husband and consort Prince Philip passed away, Anderson claims that Charles was relentlessly pushing for Camilla to become queen consort. Anderson asserts Charles just wore her out on this too. Additionally, I believe that Charles has increased his efforts to demonstrate to the Queen that he also requires a partner since Prince Philip's passing. He will require the kind of support that she received from her husband if he is to reign. Number 5. social media trolls. The hateful posts about Camilla on social media have caused royal accounts to stop accepting comments. Camilla, you are hated by everyone. On a picture of Camilla, one Instagram user wrote, "Princess Diana forever. The majority, it appears, remain on Team Diana today." Following the Netflix series The Crown, a comment was made. The Netflix television show is nothing more than that. 3 people, including the children, suffered as a result of Charles and Diana's arranged marriage. Although television shows don't always accurately depict history because they focus primarily on entertainment, Camilla's actor's portrayal of her family may have given viewers a taste of what had been going on all along. According to royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliam, issues such as reading, issues such as abuse, she's done very well in quite a quiet way. She's persisting, starting with osteoporosis. Royal experts say that the dislike of Camilla will always persist. She's without a doubt extremely valuable and contributes significantly, but also, of course, as the prince's ideal partnership. However, he opined that a portion of the public will always dislike Camilla because the memory of Princess Diana will never completely go away. He stated, "The issue here is that anything Diana related that appears in the media frequently triggers recollections of the past." Given Diana's return in the past, there will undoubtedly always be a segment of society that is far from in love with Camilla. That is just how the world works. Will people, particularly her stepson Harry, begin to forgive Camilla for being in love? Number 4 made it to the memoir. Before Harry's memoir was published, Paul Burrell, a former royal butler, asserted that Harry may reveal Camilla's secrets in his memoir, and that Penguin, the book's publisher, will want their money's worth. That means they won't want vagueness, they'll want names and specifics. Burrell added, asserting that Harry may be subjected to pressure to reveal the identity of the individual who, according to him and Meghan, made racially insensitive remarks regarding the color of their son's skin. I haven't read the memoirs yet, so this could very well be the case right now. Burrell said Harry might feel the need to speak out about Camilla because she broke up his parents' marriage. He will probably elaborate on how he felt following his mother's passing and the events that followed. After reports that she was a part of his parents' marriage and then took Diana's place as Charles's wife, I think he will be interested in Camilla, so I would say that Harry is ready to reveal any secrets about Camilla. The former royal staffer stated he's already said he enjoys The Crown, which painted Camilla as the wicked stepmother in a way. Burrell also said that Harry's father would be livid if he said anything negative about Camilla. I guess watching our videos about the memoir is the only way to find out. Number 3, other royals. Camilla was viewed negatively by the royals, but Diana was received with open arms. Bedell Smith claims that Charles has always treated Camilla, who was Charles's age at the time, as an equal rather than an idol from the beginning. However, Camilla was not wanted by the royal family as its princess. For one thing, she was thought to be an experienced woman, which made her a no-go for the royal family when it came to finding Prince Charles a wife. In addition, she was not thought to be sufficiently aristocratic to be a princess. On the other hand, the royal family adored Diana. Diana was thought to be a good match for Charles by the Queen. She was very much a hit with the royal family. They really warmed to her. Diana did a great job of modeling what she thought it would be like to be a princess and worked extremely hard to gain respect. Number 2, the impact of Diana's passing. Commentators were almost unanimous in their belief that Charles would never marry Camilla, even if she had been his love of his life, despite the national outrage and finger-pointing over Diana's loss. At the time, 2/3 of respondents to a television poll said that Charles should not be allowed to become king if he married Camilla. He had been seeing her since the middle of the 1980s. After passing, one mourner said Camilla should leave the country as she laid flowers outside the princess's house. None of this would have happened without the mistress. The public seemed to point the finger directly at Camilla and label her the mistress who caused this. The Netflix series The Crown has brought Diana's experiences and pain back to life, sparking a new backlash against Camilla. Every photo on the monarch's Instagram is filled with comments that say Diana forever and other comments that suggest Diana will not be forgotten. And on to number 1, mental health concerns. Diana faced so many problems during her time as a working royal, and it even took a toll on her mental health, causing bulimia among other health issues. Working with the royal family has seemed to cause a great deal of stress to Diana and even other royal members. Being Charles' second wife, who did not have the same public approval Diana did, do you think her transition into becoming queen consort is going to be easy for her, considering the amount of people who still do not approve of her? Starting off with number 10, unconscious bias versus racism. One particular part of Prince Harry's interview with ITV journalist Tom Bradby about his tell-all memoir Spare, his marriage, and his separation from the royal family stood out. Bradby said that Harry had said that some of his family members were racist, but Harry firmly shook his head. He said the two things are different between racism and unconscious bias. He continued by arguing that if the offender was made aware of their bias and they did nothing about it, it could develop into racism. Now, there has been a lot of debate surrounding Harry and Bradby's exchange. People have questioned, with good reason, whether Harry's family members were really unaware of their own biases, whether it mattered, and whether their views could be separated from racism in op-eds on television and on Twitter. Racism occurs when someone displays racial bias, whether they are aware of it or not. However, highlighting unconscious bias will not eliminate racism. Instead, challenging the systems and institutions that have made racism common sense is what anti-racism means, just in case you didn't know the difference. Harry does not place the claim that members of his family have unconscious bias in the larger context of institutional racism when he makes it. When we take into consideration who exactly he is referring to, this becomes even more concerning. Number 9, public scandals. After their relationship became public, Markle claimed that paparazzi followed her to the Suits set while she was filming. They paid for some neighbors to have a live stream camera installed in their backyard, which was a scary experience for her. My face was everywhere and tabloids had taken over, Meghan claimed. Harry, who acknowledged that he had to go to her to inquire about some of the things that were written and said, stated that even though the news about Markle had spread, the couple was still in the getting to know each other stage of their relationship. Number 8, marrying royalty. Due to the fact that his privilege is something most people can only dream of, Prince Harry has been urged to stop the woe is me narrative. In her most recent piece for Sky News Australia, royal contributor and commentator Angela Levin makes this assertion. She began by stating Spare refers to the heir to the throne in royal households. It is not disparaging, it is highly unlikely that Meghan would have given Harry a second glance if he had not been a prince. Do you think that's true? Let me know in the comments. The royal family also did not consider Harry to be second best, contrary to the title. He was simply unique. Throughout her piece, Prince Harry also made mention of previous admissions, such as when he guest edited the BBC News program Today in December 2017 and asked his father to accompany him. At the time, Harry replied, the then Prince Charles called him my darling boy. I do find myself consulting you more frequently than I ever have before. Additionally, he stated to me, William is the only person I can really trust and talk to about anything. Who or what has caused him to become so hostile toward his family? After the late Queen, he was the most popular royal until he married Meghan in 2018. Despite this, he seems to cling on to the past, which simply cannot be changed after 5 years. On his travels, Harry has seen severe poverty all over the world, which should have jolted him out of his oh poor me feelings and made him appreciate all of his privileges. Yet, there are questions. Is the book all about trying to outdo William and his father and make money? Has he ever desired to be the king's firstborn and heir? I don't think so, given my knowledge of him. Therefore, he gotta stop groaning. Number 7, making people feel uncomfortable. Prince Harry and Meghan are beginning to make the entire elite of Hollywood uncomfortable. Kinsey Sheffield, a royal commentator and the host of the podcast To Die For Daily, is making this assertion. She confessed to Fox News, beginning with the question, did intensely private Beyoncé give Meg permission to read a text message that she sent the Duchess verbatim to millions of Netflix subscribers? It is highly unlikely. unlikely. After Gayle King claimed that her friends, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, had receipts, she appeared on morning television. Does Gayle King enjoy being grilled by the internet when Harry tells ITV there isn't a royal racist? Miss Sheffield added, they are putting people in uncomfortable situations before coming to a conclusion. Number 6, royal issues. Some might say Prince Harry and Meghan are a dynamic duo. They have demonstrated resilience in the face of numerous family issues. But it seems as if it's important to understand that it can be a red flag if your partner's family does not like you. Sure, you might be the problem, but let's consider the history of the royal family. For one, more than one member of this family has had racist allegations against them. 2, Meghan is mixed race. And 3, when Harry wanted his family to speak out about the injustices happening to Meghan, including harassment from the media outlets, they didn't take him seriously, which just sounds like the couple's feelings were invalidated even after Harry pointed out a lot of the harassment, which has to do with Meghan's ethnicity. Yeah, big red flag. I am too sensitive to deal with this kind of stuff, so in a sense, it's totally understandable why Meghan left the royal household and stepped down from her royal duties. But Meghan should have also done a little bit more research on this family before committing to a lifelong relationship with them, because she more than likely wouldn't have suffered as much as she has been after becoming Duchess. On to number 5, emotionally immature prince. Prince Harry appears to be emotionally immature and does what other people want him to do rather than what he wants to do. Sure, he may have wanted to leave the royal family for a while, but can we talk about how he never actively chose to expose the family throughout any of his other romantic relationships? Only after meeting Meghan and feeling the need to protect his family did the prince decide to act on his desire. There may be many reasons for this. Prince Harry might be driven to save Meghan because his mother, Princess Diana, could not be saved. Because of the negative feelings they have about the royal family and the increased publicity surrounding the book, the couple is seen as codependent, which seems to be the driving force in their relationship. They heavily rely on their experiences in the royal household to make content for platforms that'll provide them with an income. Meghan's husband does not have a strong relationship with his family, and even though both parties are to blame, it has to be a red flag that they were okay with cutting ties with him and Meghan rather than coming to a compromise that would keep both sides of the family happy. Number 4, Queen Elizabeth. A lot of people questioned how healthy Harry and Meghan's relationship is, even the late Queen Liz. The Queen's assertion was that he is too in love with Meghan. Well, I want to say that is better than Queen Elizabeth's son, King Charles, who famously said whatever love means when asked if Diana and him were in love. That is definitely a worse reality. And also look at how their relationship turned out. When she heard that Harry and Meghan were getting married, Queen Elizabeth was truly delighted. However, she was under the impression that Harry was perhaps a little over in love because of how he blindly follows what she wants to do. And this was as far as she came to ever uttering a word against the new Duchess of Sussex. Was Queen Elizabeth implying that the passionate love between the couple was actually a red flag? I wouldn't be surprised, since a lot of the older generations of royals didn't seem to marry for love, but instead for fulfilling duties and social class. The older folk just wouldn't get it. But then again, the late queen might have been onto something, because the fact that Harry's relationship is now strained with his whole family makes it seem like Meghan is the reason for that. Is her assumption a red flag, or did she make some points? Let me know what you think in the comments. Number 3, codependent couple. Prince Harry and Meghan have confirmed that their romance seems like something out of a fairy tale, despite the royal family's position. The couple talked about how they got together in an interview with BBC in 2018. Harry said, "The fact that I fell in love with Meghan so incredibly quickly was confirmation to me that all the stars were aligned. Everything was just perfect." However, particularly since the release of Harry and Meghan, speculation regarding the possibility of a codependent relationship between Harry and Meghan has emerged as a popular topic on Twitter. They have the most unhealthy codependent relationship I've ever seen, was one user's tweet. I suspect Harry has been literally transformed by what he believes to be his intense love for Meghan, another person wrote, adding, "completely codependent on her." So what will the future hold for Harry and Meghan? Their marriage will last maybe several more years is one of the many predictions made about this couple for a variety of reasons, including their likely codependency. On to number 2, Megxit. Is Meghan to blame? It's hard to avoid the conclusion that having grown up in a country that considers the Kennedys aristocracy, Meghan didn't understand that being a Windsor is not like being a celebrity. Not only the Brits were dissatisfied with Megxit either. People find the Sussexes much less interesting now that they aren't senior royals and that Markle was to blame. That's not something you want to hear when you get married to someone whose life revolves around the spotlight, and as we can see with how it's playing out for them, it's hard to get the public to like you if you mess up. Celebrities seem to have pressure to be this perfect human being where criticism is highly likely to occur when you aren't perfect, which isn't fair, but that's just how it is. If this is true, then was Megxit always planned this way? There seems to be a lot of people who think so, and there is even some kind of proof. Page 6 claims that prior to her wedding, Markle stored some of her clothes in a Toronto storage facility. An insider claimed that when she and Prince Harry arrived in Canada following the announcement, she had the items delivered to their rented property on Vancouver Island. Why did Markle store all of those clothes for 2 years across the Atlantic? It's possible that she hoped to return at some point, but who knows? It's a mystery, and the people need answers, Meg. Was this all part of a bigger plan to get everyone to hate her? Attention is attention, regardless of whether it's good or bad, and some people would do anything for it. But I guess as long as you don't let people's thoughts on you get to your head, it shouldn't be too hard, even though I know that's easier said than done. And on to number 1, selfish prince. Prince Harry wants the British and American publics to believe that the royal family, the palace as an institution, or the firm as it is known, and the British media have all conspired to destroy him and his family. This is the modern dystopian twist. He and Meghan provide only hazy explanations for why and how. They are all based on claims that the monarchy is racist, but none specifically mention members of the royal family. Without the benefit of facts, evidence, a trial, or a jury, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex blame the royal fallout on the family and think they should acknowledge that they are racist in every way, whether this is proven or not. Prince Harry is unable to comprehend the largely symbolic but very real role his father, King Charles, plays as the head of the UK's military forces in light of the Commonwealth's growing political, economic, and military threat. By attacking the Commonwealth and amassing personal wealth in the US, some estimates put it at more than $150 million for the Netflix series alone. They are recklessly jeopardizing a global economic alliance that accounts for nearly 10% of the UK's total foreign trade. Yikes! It seems as if this couple is not considering the lives of other people, especially as someone who has decided his whole life to being of service to the public. It seems more as if he's being of service to his wife and family, which is also important, but it is making him look really bad. Starting off with number 10, Mad Meghan. Meghan and Harry's whirlwind romance has been in the spotlight pretty much since they got together. With fans and haters watching their every move, this couple is used to getting lots of attention, whether they like it or not. When Harry got with Meg, people started watching Meg like a hawk, dissecting her every move. Naturally, when you're part of the royals, people are gonna be more inclined to know what you're like. As someone part of the royal family, displaying strong emotions is not necessarily expected, especially in a public setting. After being invited as a guest speaker at the Power of Women charity benefit, Meg seemed irritated after pictures of her were published where she was seen lashing out at an employee in the parking garage. Pics published in the Daily Mail show her looking pretty ticked off while pointing directly at someone. Some believe she was scolding one of her employees, while others say she was letting a parking attendant have it. As a person, I feel like keeping your cool in inconvenient situations is pretty important, but as a royal, I think Meghan should have been more mindful of her position and the amount of eyes on her. But hey, there's always more to a story, right? And it's hard to figure out with pictures out of context. Number 9, 14 top staffers. When the series Harry and Meghan dropped, a lot of criticism came out of it. And of course, the palace insiders were seething with rage at allegations made in the Netflix docuseries. The trailer was also slammed by online trolls who called the series hypocritical. In conversation with Sky News Australia's Paul Murray, Megyn Kelly mentioned her perspective on the bullying allegations and how they were coming out from the abandonment of her friends and family family. Her wedding peppered by only celebrities and no one who actually knew or loved her. Ouch, that one even hurt me, and she isn't even talking about me. Kelly also brought up how the palace lost 14 top staffers in the past few years, and how it's not normal to lose 14, especially at that level when you're royal. People probably really want to work for you. I think it's more about needing to work rather than wanting to work for the royals, but yeah, I'm sure someone's dream job is to work for an entitled and privileged family, who, might I add, have very specific demands. Royal family lovers don't come for me, just my personal opinion. The haters were quick to bring their opinions into the discussion, calling the couple out for writing a letter making it clear that the monarchy is a horribly oppressive system. Right before signing their letter, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. This outrage has caused former employees to voice their frustration with NDAs that limit them from saying anything about the lies in the Netflix docuseries. One of the palace staffers claimed that Meg knows the workers can't financially protect themselves by going to court, so she thinks she can do whatever she wants without many repercussions. Counting down to number 8, the royal ultimatum. Before Meg and Harry's relationship was made public, there was some turbulence. The streets are saying Meghan apparently told the prince that she'd break up with him if their relationship was not made public. Maybe she wasn't sure whether the scandals would be worth it if the relationship wasn't serious enough, or she wanted that royal status ASAP. What do you think? Was her motive to be known as a royal member, or is there more to the relationship we may never know about? My girl Meghan seems to love her man enough for the world to know and wants the same. An ultimatum does seem a bit extreme and almost manipulative though. But do you think Meghan forced his hand to release a public statement announcing their relationship to the world? According to a source, the nature of this media push was rageful, which made Harry start freaking out and worrying for his relationship. Number 7, complaining. During the royal tours, the smiles and nice photos covered up the behind the scenes of the tour, which was apparently a nightmare. This tour is an amazing time to empower others and be a good role model as a royal. It's tradition and is keen for the royal family to build good relations and is also good publicity. Only issue is Meghan didn't see the importance in that and has been quoted on multiple occasions by staff for saying, "I can't believe I'm not getting paid for this." Meghan, you got to travel the world and be treated royally. Is that not enough? I get time is money, but if you're doing it for the man you love, wouldn't you just want to do it for him and his family instead of for personal gain? Number 6, Megan Beckham. An English TV personality says the Duchess of Cambridge became increasingly frustrated with Meghan's attitude towards her privileged position and feels she ruined her relationship with her brother-in-law Harry. Kate apparently was not amused by the way Meghan was behaving. You never see Kate whining and moaning, and she's had a fair bit of bad press herself, but you don't see her going on TV. She does it the right way. Meghan should have taken a leaf out of Kate's book. According to Lizzie, Kate also blames Meghan for ruining her once close relationship with Harry. Before Meghan came on the scene, Harry, William, and Kate were so close. Now Harry seems to be a different guy. It seems Meghan has alienated him from his friends and family. Lizzie adds that just like the Queen, Kate's biggest fear is that Meghan will sell out the monarchy for millions. The Queen is worried Meghan will go nuclear. She's worried she will go to the Oprah Winfrey talk shows and spill all the beans on the royal family. I mean, look, already her friends have gone and said the royal family is toxic. I think the Queen had to take firm reins and let them have their way, let them go, because she needed to take control. Lizzie also claims Meghan's ultimate goal is to turn herself and Harry into global stars like the Beckhams, and she won't let anyone, not even the royal family, stand in her way. Don't forget, I met Meghan a few years ago and Victoria Beckham was there, and Meghan was squealing with excitement that Victoria was in the same building as her. I mean, I have to admit, it's a bit of a red flag if the person you are getting into a relationship with is souring your relationships with people close to you, especially family. But then again, there's always two sides to a story, and who knows how biased these stories are. On to number 5, mocking Harry's traditions. Yikes. I don't know if you've seen the docuseries yet, but Meghan has been slammed online for mocking having to curtsy to the late queen in the series. The American Duchess was discussing how unusual she found it to have to curtsy to the queen, saying it was like medieval times in episode 2 of the new doc. Not being able to handle other cultures or traditions in other countries seems like a red flag, and mocking them? I don't know, Meg, doesn't seem like something you should be joking about. Anyway, she dramatically bowed low to demonstrate her first curtsy to the beloved former monarch, before straightening back up with a small giggle. Online commenters were quick to slam her for appearing to mock the institution of the monarchy. One critic tweeted, "Meghan Markle mocking the monarch with that supposed curtsy? How utterly disrespectful of the British people and their tradition." Another seethed, "Meghan Markle mocks the respect of a curtsy for a beloved queen, mocks the tradition of the monarchy and the UK, and finds herself adorable while doing it." A third fumed, "The worst part is Meghan mocking having to curtsy to the queen and that stupid mocking voice she uses after. Most people will be offended by her mockery of an old beloved woman." However, others defended Meghan and said that the scene was hilarious. One commenter said, "The curtsy part was so funny to me. Watching Meghan do that deep bow and Harry's face, I can't lie, it was kind of funny but also a little awkward." On to number 4, Mad Meghan Part 2. Meghan was accused of abrasive behavior towards staff members and diplomats. Looking back at the Sussexes' visit to Sydney, Australia, where they received an amazing reception, Bauer writes, "Meghan was allegedly abrasive towards her 4 female staff and even towards the local British diplomats." According to one report, Meghan allegedly threw a cup of tea into the air. Not the tea. He continued by saying that her anger may have been partly fueled by Harry. Every night he trawled social media, searching for snide comments on the internet. Every morning, he and Meghan turned on their phones to surf the internet. That does not sound very healthy to me. Australia, as covered in past videos, didn't seem to be as fun as the couple may have hoped, and it's been reported they were feeling down in the down under. Good one, right? On to number 3, Meghan over Harry. If we look objectively at the couple since breaking away from the royal family, who has gotten the better end of the deal? Meghan Markle is living in LA, pitching Hollywood decision makers, voicing Disney documentaries, and positioning herself as a woke cultural voice. Prince Harry has given his family the cold shoulder, severing ties with his late grandma, father, and brother. He's reportedly been depressed and feeling down. The high point may have been when he was filmed reading Thomas the Tank Engine. It doesn't take a genius to figure out who's benefiting. The final straw was watching Prince Harry throw his grandmother and all she's accomplished for the Commonwealth over the past 67 plus years under the bus, just to provide Meghan Markle with yet another cause to pursue. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he made a complete fool of himself by showing his lack of knowledge on the matter. That part didn't surprise me. Looking silly seems to be what Prince Harry specializes in these days. Number 2, the Queen's thoughts. How did the late Queen Liz feel about his grandson's wife? Queen Liz once said he is too in love with Meghan. Queen Elizabeth was truly delighted when she was informed that Harry and Meghan were tying the knot. However, she was under the impression that Harry was perhaps a little over in love with Meghan. That was the most the Queen had ever said against the new Duchess of Sussex. Was Queen Elizabeth implying that the couple's intense love was actually a red flag? Prince Harry is known to be close with his grandmother, and he may have taken that into account when he was considering being with Meg. And it seems like a lot of his other family was not necessarily thrilled with his decision to tie the knot with her either. But again, 2 sides to a story, right? And last but not least, what kind of royal family drama is it without the royal in-laws hating the newcomer? Prince William allegedly absolutely hates his brother Prince Harry's wife Meghan Markle. A friend of his own wife, Kate Middleton, has claimed. In an explosive interview, the unnamed friend of the Princess of Wales shared just how much Prince William dislikes Meghan and blames her for his falling out with Prince Harry. She stated that the family blames Meghan for it all and absolutely hates her. She mentioned how the brothers shared an incredible bond, but when Meghan came along, everyone warned Harry, but she just ripped him away. The bond is completely gone, and the series is just the latest betrayal. Their friends said that the couple's relationship is really toxic and destructive for all of them. At the end of the day, they are a family who feels as if their family life has been ruined by Meghan. Clearly, the family is upset from whatever the couple has been spilling about them in past interviews and now the docuseries. But it is interesting to think about how Harry never thought to expose the royal family this way until he got with Meghan. Is Meghan contributing in getting Harry to expose his family's drama? On the other hand, Harry is a grown man and is able to make decisions for himself. But it is important to note that his whole family shares the same sentiment about Meghan. Red flag? But speaking of family, Meghan does not have the best family ties either. Meghan Markle's relationship with her family was a hot topic in the run-up to her wedding. Her husband-to-be inadvertently caused a stink when he said of the Windsors to BBC Radio 4, "It's the family that I suppose she's never had." Prince Harry's comment hurt the Markles, who hit back, "She's had a really good family." Half-brother Thomas Markle Jr. claimed, "We were as close as we could be." So why did Harry shade them? So many questions, not enough answers, and from the looks of it, we'll never know. But that's all for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more royal updates. And I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.